Hello and welcome to another episode of Design with Pam. Today we're going to be looking at auto layout. I know that a lot of people think that auto layout is actually very complicated, but it is not. All you have to do is like practice, right? Till you get a hang of it. So I'm going to quickly show us what how to achieve like a responsive card like this just using auto layout. I'm just going to say it in a very simple way that you're going to understand, and at the end of this video you're going to know, or you're going to convince yourself, you're going to be convinced that you know how to use auto layout. So let's get right into it. I'm going to use this one as a for starters. I'm going to create this and show you how I made it as responsive as this with auto layout. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to create this card here, this image card here. So for this image card here, I'm just let me duplicate the one I have. So I actually used a frame to achieve this one, right? I created a rectangle. Sorry, I used a rectangle to achieve this one because images snap better into a rectangle. So create a rectangle with create a rectangle with this sizing. The sizing I'm using is 656 and 540, 656 and 544. Yes. So once you have this here, just go ahead and then import your image here. Go ahead and place your image here, and then you will have exactly this. So the next thing we're going to do is to create this other one, this title here. We're going to click on T and we're going to just type handbag. So now we're going to change this handbag title to an auto layout, right? And let's go ahead, double click, and we can make the font to be maybe, let's say a 56. Let's try 56 for starters. So the other one is our text here. So I'm going to copy the text that I have here. These are dummy text. You can use the plugin Lorem Ipsum plugin here, which is this, and then you can generate dummy text. So click on T and I'm going to draw like a small text text frame here. So once I do this, I'm going to come to this auto height here exactly and make sure that the height of my frame, my text box, is okay. So once I have this one, let's go ahead and create this call to action buttons that we have. So I'm going to click on T on my keyboard, just click T on my keyboard, and I'm going to type view details. So again, one thing you should understand, in case you don't know why we created these two buttons, one is actually blue with a primary color, the other one is like a secondary button. So you can't have two primary color. You have to define some form of hierarchy in your design. Which button do you want users to pay attention to at first, or what's the most your vocal point in your design? That should be the first thing the user should see. So I'm going to make an auto layout with this text here. Once I type the text, I'm going to say Shift A to create an auto layout. So I'm going to come to this settings here. This is setting of auto layout. I'm going to just say let's make it a 32 for the horizontal padding. So for the vertical padding, I'm going to make it a 16 here. So once I have this one, I'm going to duplicate it and then edit the text and say buy now. So for this buy now, let's change the color to, let's give it a blue color. Let's just use our color picker and pick this color here. Now we can also go ahead to give it a corner radius of 8. Let's also select this and give it a corner radius of 8. So once we do that, the next thing we want to do is to also give this one a fill. So we didn't have a fill for this one. The fill is actually the same background color. What we did is just to give it a stroke here. So I'm going to copy this stroke and paste it here, and also give it it already has a corner radius of 8. So the text too, I'm going to change the text color to this is the text color that I'm using. So you can also copy it here. This is 7F 7A 7A. That's the text color I'm using. So once I have this two things here, the next thing I want to do, I'm going to select the two and create an auto layout. So the spacing here, let's just make it let's say a 64 for instance. Then I'm going to just select everything that I have here, and I'm going to hit Shift A and add an auto layout. So the spacing between these items here, 64, we can make it a 40. Let's use a 40. You can make adjustment to your spacing just as you want it, or you can also select this one, create an auto layout, and then give it the proper spacing you want in between. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to just use this one spacing for each of these items here. So once I have this, I'm going to add the fill color here, and I'm going to give it a you know, we've already created an auto layout within this card here right now. So let's give it a horizontal padding of, let's start with a 40, then the vertical padding, let's say a 20, or rather we can say 32, and this one should be a 16. Let's use a 16. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and change the color of this text. Let's make it a black. We can also reduce, let's make this a 28. Let's make the spacing a 28. No, okay, we click on the wrong thing. Let's make the spacing here a 28. Okay, so now that we have this, you can see that most of our cards are responsive, right? Now, but for this one, this is not responsive. What I'm going to do is to go ahead and say click the drop down here and say fill container, right? I'm also going to say fill container, but for this, so I'm going to select each of the items, that's each of the frames that created this auto layout for this text here. I'm going to make it a fill container for each of it. Let's make it a fill container. So let's try again and see. So for this one, you can see is a bit responsive. However, the main frame here is on fixed, so let's change it to hot content. So now that we've changed it to hot content, you can see that it's already giving room for the items here. However, the text inside this call to action buttons are already spilling off. So since they're spilling off, let's double click and select the text itself, and let's say fill container for the text here. So we're going to all say fill container for all the text here. So this is, let's center this text, right? So we're going to make it the center alignment. So now, okay, so this is still not behaving just as this one. You can see this one is more responsive, right? So let's try and fix this again. Let's go to this container. Let's make sure it's on hot content. This other one too is on hot, fill and hug. This other one is, oh, this is on, let's leave this contain the frame for that has these two buttons. We're going to leave it at hot content for the horizontal vertical resizing. So for each of the frames too, they're on fill, hug, the text in it, fill. Then let's make sure that our text here is also fill. Now we have something better that we're working on. All right, so this is how you achieve a responsive, or this is how you work with an auto layout. So all right, so I'm going to then quickly show you how to achieve this responsive car. This other one here, this one I made the desktop with to be fixed at, I just did this. So quickly just click on F on your keyboard and select a desktop. So once you've selected your desktop, just turn it into an auto layout, right? I'm going to leave it at horizontal layout here. So next thing I'm going to do is to click R on my keyboard, and I'm going to draw a frame for my image. So I'm just going to go and import an image here. So once I have my image inside here, I'm going to chuck it into this place. But before, again, I'm going to give this desktop that I've given an auto layout, I'm going to give it a horizontal padding of 120. For the vertical padding, I'm going to make it a 60. Right now, for each of the, I'm going to duplicate this image here in 3 places. Now to achieve, if you see, if I resize this frame, nothing, my cards are stagnant. But let me see, I'm going to select each of the images here, and I'm going to make it a fill container. Select the second one, also make it a fill container. Select the third one, make it a fill container. Once I do that, I have this option to do this. So you can enlarge it as much as you want. This image is going to enlarge. Let me show you how it works. So you can enlarge it as much as you want, and this image is going to enlarge with you. So this is how it works. Let's also make each of the image here, let's make it a fill container, and then let's try resizing it again. So this is what we have, a responsive design. So even though we do it like this, our image is still pretty much responsive. So if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.